Hey, friends, it's Steve, the old get out of debt guy. If you're a returning listener, welcome back. You know the drill. We talk about real money, real debt, and getting your life back on track. And if this is your first time here, damn, I am so glad you stopped by. Don't forget to boop that like button, subscribe, and swing by getoutofdebt.org for free help that's actually helpful. All right. Now, today's episode, it's one that I've been itching to do. Damon and I have been talking about it all this week. You've probably seen the ads. Erase bad credit. Start over with a new identity. Use a secret number the government doesn't want you to know about. Sounds like a late night infomercial, right? Well, that's because it is. But here's the thing. Those aren't credit repair tips. That's credit fraud. And sadly, a lot of people fall for it. Here's the surprising twist. Fixing your credit, it's not that hard. Is it, Damon?
No, it's a little bit tedious, but it's not hard.
In fact, it's kind of stupid easy once you know the right steps. You don't need to pay a company hundreds of dollars. You don't need to rent someone's good credit, and you definitely don't need an alternative social security number. So why do people fall for the scams? Well, generally it's because they're desperate, because they're scared, and because the fraudsters make it sound like it's the only option. Today, Damon and I are going to walk you through what actually works when it comes to credit repair and how to spot the difference between a legit strategy and a big old legal disaster waiting to happen. Hey, if this is hitting home for you, again, boop that like button, give us a little love, subscribe. And I was remiss in the beginning for not saying, and with me, as always, is Damon Day, the new Get Out of Debt guy. Say hello, Damon.
Hello, Damon.
All right. Damon, we've seen so much stuff about credit repair. It's amazing. And I understand why people, fall for the hype. In fact, this is a really interesting statistic. You know that people spend over $3.4 billion a year. Do I have that right? Yes.
That's a lot of money.
$1 billion a year on the credit repair industry.
Well, the reason they do it is because, we all have to worship that almighty FICO, and that FICO tends to hold the keys to the new house, the new car, the credit cards, the loans, and, everything is built on this stupid FICO model.
Yep.
That, I understand the necessity for it, and we've talked about that before. But there's also a lot of BS around it, and it's not a perfect system, but it's the system that unfortunately the banks use. So you either have to play the game or take the Dave Ramsey approach and try to stay out of the game altogether, which
stick your head in the sand.
It also has its own, downsides.
Yeah, no credit is worse than bad credit. But, you see a lot of people that are getting the marketing messages, they're listening to the hype, and they're hearing all this stuff. I was on Substack this morning, and I saw somebody, their question was, how can I make my credit improve in a week? And so that's somebody that's probably going to fall for one of these messages. They say, we can make your credit score jump, or we'll get rid of all this bad stuff on your credit report. But there's a little bit more to it than that.
Well, at the end of the day, there's this mysterious FICO model, and the score can definitely be manipulated. I mean, it's just numbers. It's a formula that takes in input and puts out output, right? And whatever the input is, these magical output numbers come out. So there are things that you can do, and credit repair places, or you can do yourself. It's all based on a specific formula that's kind of secret, kind of available.
Well, I would go with not that it's secret, but mysterious is probably a better, from my point of view.
Mysterious, that's probably a better word.
Yeah, because, even FICO has a multiple different calculations. You got FICO for mortgages, FICO for cars, FICO for this, FICO for that. And then the lender can manipulate the algorithm for their needs also. And then on top of that, There are a little over 60 different credit reporting agencies that report different sorts of things, like, how you did writing checks, or how much merchandise you return, or how you're doing with rent payments. So there are all sorts of people that report. And even if you go to some place like Credit Karma and get your free credit score from two bureaus, I believe, uh, even that doesn't really tell you what, I'm doing air quotes here, what the truth is, because that is your consumer score. You are the master, Damon, of like calling a bank and going, okay, what version of the score do you use?
Yeah. I had a friend actually 2 or 3 days ago, I was talking to, and he was in the process of trying to refinance his truck or maybe buy a new vehicle and get out of the old one, but he's upside down. And he went to the dealership where he bought his truck, and I don't remember what the score was like, they said his score was 580 or something. It wasn't great.
Mm-hmm.
So his score was like 580. And he was kind of flabbergasted because he's like, no, I know my score is better than that. And so I was having to explain to him that there's, like you said, there's so many different versions
Mm-hmm.
of FICO, and different dealerships will pull it from different places. They'll be using different versions, FICO 8, FICO 9, maybe even FICO 10. And all of those different versions have the formula tweaked more so or less so than another. So FICO 8 score is going to be different than FICO 10.
Mm-hmm.
So it's at the point where you have no idea what your score is going to be until whoever you're asking to pull it pulls it and tells you what it is, unless you know ahead of time what version they're going to pull, what credit bureau they're going to pull from.
Right.
And so this is all information that most consumers would not even think about or know how to access. And they're just kind of flying blind. And these dealerships and lenders use this almost as a way to justify, we're going to have to charge you more money. You're only at 580, but maybe a different dealership might pull you at 640 or 660.
They might use a different bureau. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So it's all a game. You have to learn how to play the game if you're going to be a player in it. Otherwise, you're going to get out. It's like dodgeball. You're going to be the first one pegged.
All right. Well, here's some ways to play the game. Annualcreditreport.com is the place you can go to get a free copy of each of the three major bureau credit reports. And I'm going to give you the very basics. We're going to talk about what legit credit repair actually is. Okay. It's really nothing more than carefully looking over your credit reports and seeing if there's any actual errors. Now, an actual error is not that a lender reported your actual bad credit because you missed a payment. That's truthful information, but incorrect information should not be on there and it should be removed. Now, about 1 out of 3 people has incorrect information on their credit report. It's easy to remove by disputing it most of the time, and that will get you a legit credit report. So if you want to monitor your credit scores, I actually like Credit Karma. Credit Karma is, I think, a while ago, years ago, was purchased by Intuit, the same people that do TurboTax and all that. So Credit Karma gives you free 2 bureau credit scores. And also, I really like the fact that they will tell you, hey, these things are lowering your score, so you could do something about it. So that's really handy too. Now, where people get in trouble is this whole credit repair thing. I see lots of ads on Instagram or TikTok or, some other social media place that says, hey, we can make your bad credit. We'll delete all those negative items. We'll boost your credit in 30 days. So I had this client once, he paid about $1,500 and then about $99 a month to remove, all the bad things that were on his credit report. So he paid it, and about 2 months later, all the bad stuff came back because all those people did was they disputed all the bad things on his credit report and said that they were because of identity theft. And then once everybody figured out that that really wasn't the case, all the stuff came back. So
But did he hurry up and apply for a mortgage in those 2 months before it came back?
I don't
Or
know if
whatever
he
he was
did or
trying to
not.
do?
But the problem is that these days, if you do that, if you
Mhm.
manipulate your credit report,
Here's the other part of this topic.
yeah, if you manipulate your credit report and you apply for credit using a now falsified credit report, you're actually you're actually engaged in federal credit fraud because you are specifically misrepresenting your credit on an application. And there have been people that have gotten prison time, fines. I've covered many of them over the years on getoutofdebt.org. So, um,
What Steve is
it's
saying is it's a very fine line between credit repair and credit fraud.
fraud. Oh, absolutely.
Because, and again, I'm playing devil's advocate, I'm not justifying, but the banks are relying on the FICO score to make decisions that could involve hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars on this loan, and they're relying on that information to be accurate. Now, if it's not accurate, well, that sucks for the bank. But if it's not accurate because somebody purposely manipulated it to make it inaccurate, then we're getting, into a very gray area
Yeah.
that could get you in trouble.
But you know what? Damon, when people say, I need to improve my credit this week, if you've got bad credit, it's really, as I said in the intro, stupid easy to improve your credit. Number one, you need to deal with whatever the bad things were that were going on. Maybe you have an old unpaid bill, or you just are routinely late making your payments. So, make your payments on time, take care of those old items. If you need help with old items, you feel like you're buried, there's always somebody great. Damon, it's you to talk to for debt help. And you can always reach Damon at DAMONDAY.com, DamonDay.com. And he can help you deal with all that old baggage.
Well,
But,
let me preface that with there is no magic button that I have
oh no,
either. Time will heal a lot on the credit report, getting your stuff right and letting time do what time does. But
yes.
don't listen to this and say, oh, well, I need my credit fixed in
Oh,
a
no, no,
week.
no, no, no.
I better call Damon because he's going to give me the magic secret answers to fix my credit in a
Well,
week.
no, you can't do that. The magic secret answers are deal with the past, do better moving forward, let some time pass.
Yeah, I mean, it takes the bureaus at least 30 to 45, sometimes 60 days to update anything anyway.
Yeah.
So it's almost impossible to do anything in a week when it comes to credit reports.
Well, nothing legit.
Well, yeah. Oh, and before I forget, I did want to bring up, because you talked about, using Credit Karma
Yeah.
For monitoring. Credit Karma is great for a lot of things. It's a free service. One thing I want people to be aware of, though, the score you see on Credit Karma
Mm-hmm.
is not your FICO score. It's not any version of your FICO score.
Yeah, it's the consumer.
It's called a Vantage.
Yeah.
Yeah, the model is called a Vantage score. So what I found is it's usually nowhere near what your actual FICO score is, but it's good. Credit Karma is good for monitoring. It gives you all of your accounts. It lets you know if anybody has inquired on your credit report. You can use that to, hey, so and so just applied for a credit card. That wasn't me. That's a red flag. Maybe I had my identity stolen or something like that.
Right.
So Credit Karma is a free service that does a lot of great things. It also, you just need to be aware, though, they probably do sell your information and all that kind of stuff, because it is a free service. So you're going to be getting offers and things like that. But who's not selling your information these days?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, it is what it is.
Credit Karma's model is also that what they do is they use your credit score and they pitch you new credit cards or loans or stuff like that. And they make essentially a referral or affiliate commission if you sign up for them. And one of the criticisms of Credit Karma is that they will allegedly more heavily weigh the people that pay them, for referrals than those that don't. So whatever you see on Credit Karma, like, you should apply for this, maybe.
Yeah.
But just use it
Well,
for the credit report stuff.
That's with everything. Any recommendation you get online is usually, well, I'm getting an affiliate commission. That's why my blog is recommending this because I'm getting an affiliate commission or whatever it is. So, that's true across the board for everything. And the other thing I want to say to add to, like the Credit Karma, and I hate saying this, but if you're, in the middle of really trying to deal with your credit or improve it, or you're in the middle of trying to get a loan, myfico.com is really the best place to go.
That's
you
true.
have to pay for it. It's not free. And it's pretty pricey. It's $30 to $40 a month, depending on which version you get. Now, you don't want to pay for that every month, in perpetuity, of course.
Right.
But if you're in the middle
big
of
word.
perpetuity and perpetuity, I am educated. If you're in the middle of trying to do something, that's really the place that you can go to get your actual FICO scores from all three credit bureaus. And this myfico.com, because it is the FICO score, will give you all the different versions. You can see what your score is for FICO 8, FICO 9, FICO 10. You can say, what is my auto lending FICO 9 score? What is my mortgage FICO 10 score? So with all that information, you can now actually see what your numbers are. And then if you are actively trying to get a loan, you can then call that bank that you're trying to get a loan from, or that dealership, find out whose bank they're using, your mortgage lender. This is what Steve was alluding to earlier. You can find out ahead of time before you have all these people pulling your score, just so you can be surprised to find out what your number is. You can ask them what bureau they pull their FICO from and what version they use.
Yeah.
And you probably have to get, one or two people deep on the phone, because usually the first person that answers,
they don't have a clue.
won't know what the hell you're talking about when you're like, what version of FICO do you pull? And they're going to be like, this is above my pay grade, bro. But once you have that information, now you can go to myfico.com and you can say, okay, they're using FICO 9. So I'm trying to get this mortgage. So my mortgage FICO 9 score is this. And then you also, when you're talking to the bank, they'll give you the parameters. It says, if you're above 720, our rate is going to be this. So you can see your FICO 8 mortgage lending. Okay, that's a 760. So I know my rate's going to be X before you ask them to pull your credit. And then you can use that to shop different lenders before you have them all start pulling.
Excellent tip. That is so smart.
Muy excelente.
There are a couple other things that fall into the credit fraud category that I've heard over the years. One of them is people pitching. What I'm about to tell you is so bizarre that I wrote about this particular fraud, and there was a group on Facebook that was selling this thing, and they got so pissed at me. It just shows you how bright they were.
Get in line.
That they
Someone
actually
got pissed at Steve for writing about them.
Yeah. They got so pissed that I was writing about credit privacy numbers, which is I'm going to talk about next. That on Facebook, they actually asked if they could hire somebody locally to do a drive-by and take me out.
They asked publicly on Facebook?
Yes. Yeah, I got a screenshot of that.
Genius, Clark.
Yeah. So there are people out there that are selling what they call CPN, credit privacy numbers. And they say, we will get you a brand new credit profile using a credit privacy number. It's 100% legal, they'll say. Celebrities use it, government officials to protect their identity. You'll get a second chance of credit. You can use it to buy that car, rent that apartment. But here's the thing. The credit privacy number is, they say that you can use it in place of your social security number. It's either going to be one of three things. It's going to be a stolen social security number. It's going to be a randomly made up 9-digit number that looks like a social security number, or it's going to be an employer identification number that they applied as a business and then just hand it to you and say, this is a social security number. Now, okay, that all sounds great. I'm going to wipe the slate clean. I'm going to start over. I'm going to use this CPN number. But as we talked about earlier, the minute you misrepresent your actual social security number on a credit application, you have committed federal fraud. And if you go to getoutofdebt.org in the search bar, type in CPN, you will see stories over the year that I've covered. I think there was one last year that I wrote about from the Department of Justice where this couple got federal prison time for selling these numbers. So walk away from that stuff, even though it sounds magical. Now, here's another thing. The authorized user hack, right? You've heard about that one, Damon.
Oh, yeah.
Where they say, hey, we got somebody who's got great credit and we're going to add you as an authorized user on their account. So what they're actually doing is the person with good credit, they're paying to, rent out their good credit and add you as an authorized user. Well, here's where it blows up. It's called piggybacking, by the way, and the Federal Trade Commission calls it borderline fraud. And I'm going to tell you exactly why it's almost borderline in a minute. But if you
is it fraud once removed?
It is kind of. Okay, I'll give you the difference right now. So this almost sounds pornographic, but there's what they call natural piggybacking.
I can see Steve in the video feed. He's blushing. He's very red.
Yeah. There's natural piggybacking.
Like he's legit blushing.
Well, it does sound rude. But so natural piggybacking is where a spouse, a parent, or close family member will add you as an authorized user to help you build credit. You're not misrepresenting anything, right? Nobody's getting paid under the table, and it's a shared financial responsibility. Okay, and their good credit can help bring your credit up. For hire piggybacking, or as we should call it, prostitution.
Yeah, it does sound illegal.
It does. And this is where the trouble starts, because when you sign up as get put as an authorized user on some stranger's credit report or credit card, how do you know what's going on? Because, hey, their credit could go to crap. They could decide they don't want to rent their account out anymore, and it just gets removed. Their score could plummet. So what are you really gaining? I mean, just do it legitimately and, make your credit score 100% shiny, new, legit, and you don't have to worry about any of this stuff.
I have a question on that one, because I've obviously heard about that. I haven't probably researched it the way you have because it doesn't concern me. I don't recommend that, obviously.
Yeah.
But so let's say you have this legit score and they've sold whatever, 50 or 100 people this service, and there's 50 different people as authorized users on this individual's credit cards.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, that individual, maybe they lose their job, they stop paying their credit cards, they get sued.
Yep.
And the authorized user is now legally responsible for the amount of money that the creditor is suing the primary cardholder for. The authorized users can be listed on the lawsuit.
Okay, so that is a very kind of murky gray area, because the authorized user is generally on the hook for charges that they authorized, that they engaged in. So if the other person ran it up or whatever, but you hit the nail on the head, which is if they get in trouble and their score tanks, it's going to bring you down with it. Now, here's where it really gets murky, because some courts have actually sided with lenders who call this type of boosting your score, this piggybacking, they call it misrepresentation. And again, that leads you to credit fraud. Or the Federal Trade Commission has warned that this kind of behavior, if you're using it to manipulate your credit score, is deceiving the lender. But people are catching on to this.
Well, also, too, the newer versions of FICO over the last, 5 to 7 years have really downplayed the importance of, like, authorized user trade lines are not weighed and not
No.
viewed as favorable as they used to be 10 years ago.
And
They're
there's no
really
reason they
marked
should
down
be.
as it's just an authorized user. That's not technically this person's history, of payment. So it doesn't, even the natural piggybacking
Hmm.
doesn't help boost your score as much as it used to with the newer versions of FICO.
I mean, if we're going to be brutally honest about it, it's just paid deception to mislead your lenders. You don't need to do that. Hey, take a breath, take a beat, uh, get your credit reports, look to see if there's anything incorrect on there, dispute it. You can most every time you can do it right online. You can dispute it. If it's inaccurate information, dispute it. And then focus on doing better. And your credit score, not only is it going to improve, but it's going to be rock solid. You're
Yeah,
going
and
to build on it.
yeah, most of the time, you do the right things moving forward, no matter
Hmm.
how bad it is. You clean out some of the stuff that maybe is inaccurate. You pay off some stuff. You resolve it. You settle it. Whatever. But usually within, you know, a year, 2 years, most of that stuff is going to be inconsequential. When it's 2 years ago, and most things can be dramatic. Most scores can be dramatically improved within 2 years just by doing
Yeah.
the stuff that you're supposed to be doing.
Well, Damon and I both filed bankruptcy. And when I filed bankruptcy in 1990, I think it was just a little over a year before I got a mortgage.
Well, I always like to tell the story. 3 years after my bankruptcy, I had a Cadillac Escalade with 5 TVs.
Yeah. Well, the best story is the day that you got your bankruptcy discharge notice, you got an offer for a credit card from Capital One.
No, it wasn't even the offer. I got the offer from Capital, and it was these creditors will troll the public records and look for people
Yep.
that file bankruptcy, because what a perfect new client. Somebody just filed bankruptcy. They're going to have all this extra cash. They're not going to be able to go bankrupt again for 7 years. Please take my credit card. So, after I filed the bankruptcy, this was late 2011. Capital One, like within, I don't know, a few weeks of my filing, which is public,
Hmm.
I got that offer. Hey, we got this fresh start credit card. It's, $1,000 limit, no interest for 18 months. And we know sometimes, bad things happen to good people, and we want to give you this fresh start. It was all tailored to, hey, you just went bankrupt. Here's
Yeah.
your card. So I was like, well, what the hell? Let's do it. So
Right.
I applied. They gave it to me.
Yeah.
And it was actually just pure coincidence that the day I got my discharge in the mail, which was somewhere like, I filed I believe it was like late October 2011, and I got my discharge somewhere around February of 2012. It took about 4 months or so. And the same day, I opened up the mailbox. Congratulations, like 400K gone, whatever, wiped out. Here's my brand new Capital One credit card. Let's go.
Well,
And
and
it
the
was
best
like,
thing,
wait, I'm supposed to be a credit pariah for 10 years. I mean, that's what everybody's
that's
told.
what everybody says. It's bullshit. So let's talk about how the credit score is actually calculated. Now, 35% of your credit score is your payment history. So that's the majority of it. How well do you make your payments? Do you do them? Never try to time your payment to the last day. Make it in advance, because you always want that payment to be on time.
Well, what I do, and it makes it easiest, no matter
Mhm.
what, every credit card you have, set it
Yeah.
for automatic minimum payments. You
Yep.
can always pay extra,
Yep.
but that way, no matter what, your automatic minimum payment will get taken out, and you will never be late.
That's a great tip. Absolutely, that's what you should do. I agree. Now, 30% of your score is the amount that you owe. It's also called credit utilization. So like with Damon was his $1,000 card, as long as he kept it under a $300 balance, then it wasn't going to ding him. So in a minute, Damon, I'm going to ask you to talk more about credit utilization when it comes to dealing with your debt.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things with the FICO scores, the utilization. That'll drop you. That'll drop you bigly.
So 15% of your FICO score is the length of credit history. Old accounts are good, new accounts are not so helpful. This is why it drives me freaking nuts When I see people all the time say, close all your credit cards.
Oh, God. Yeah.
Keep your oldest cards open. As
Oh,
long
you
as
got 20 years of great history on it. Close it.
close it.
No, don't close it. Don't use it if you don't want to, or pay your Netflix bill on the card and set it up for automatic payment every month.
Yeah, in
and
full.
do your $15 Netflix charge and get it paid off, and keep the freaking good history. It will help your credit score.
That's 15% of your credit score. And then 10% is the credit mix. Like, do you have a lot of credit cards, car loans, mortgages, student loans? What exactly do you have? And 10% of it is how often are you applying for new credit? So pay your bills on time. Damon, talk about credit utilization.
Well, the two big things is the payments on time and the credit utilization. You take those, that's more than 50% of the FICO score. So
65.
Yeah, well, that would be more.
That is more than 50. Yeah,
it is. We are both correct, sir. So, but that utilization. Now, obviously, if you can keep your payments from ever falling behind, that's great. But once you start falling behind, it's a little bit harder to fix those. Now, time will heal that. If you had a 30-day late a year ago, it's not gonna ding your score as much as I had a 30-day late last month, right? Now, if you can technically try to dispute that. That gets into the gray area, and maybe you have a legit reason for disputing it, a bank issue or something like that. And Pam just walked in. The red recording light is on, Pam. But the best thing on that, obviously, don't go late if you don't have to. But now, the credit utilization, this is the big one, because I talk to people all the time that are in debt. Obviously, this is a daily conversation I have. Mm-hmm. And I said, do you have any late payments? We go through this whole thing. And what's your FICO score? It's right around like 600, maybe 620. And I find they have no late payments. Everything's good. But they're only at 620, which sucks. That's a bad credit score. You're not going to do much with a 620.
No.
And the only reason they're there, and the main reason they're calling me in the first place, is because they're basically maxed out or close to maxed out on the available credit. And what that tells the lender is that, hey, this person is having a financial issue right now. Mm-hmm. They're having a cash flow issue, or something is causing them to carry $50,000 of high interest consumer debt on credit cards, carrying those balances month to month, paying 25, paying 30%. They're doing that not because it's fun. They're doing that because they're spending more than they have coming in, and they're not able to pay it off. Right? So that is a huge indicator to the lender that this is a extremely high risk.
Yep.
I don't want to give a loan to this person. Now, you have a 620 score, that utilization could easily be pulling your score down 150 points. Mm-hmm. So I wave my magic wand, and you take that 50 grand and you pay $30,000 down on it. All of a sudden, you're below 50% utilization. Your score could easily be up over 700. Now, you might think, oh, great, thanks for the advice, oh wise one. Where in the hell am I going to get $30,000? Well, obviously, that's the issue. But the lender's going to say, if you don't have that money to pay that down, I don't want to lend it to you.
Right.
Right? Because you may use that to pay it down, or you may use that to just continue the lifestyle that you're in that got you into the situation with the 50 grand. And I don't want to be the next guy that now is going to be involved in your $80,000 bankruptcy.
Right.
So I don't want to give you that 30 grand, but that's why the utilization is so important. And if you're trying to improve your credit, you got to keep those utilization rates down and keep a lot of available credit, which is why closing your cards really hurts your credit score, because if you pay off a card and it has a $10,000 limit on that card, and you're baby stepping your way out of it, and I think that's great and whatever, but then you go and you get it paid off, and you go, okay, I'm closing that card. Now, all of a sudden, that $10,000 in available credit comes off the board, and your utilization ratio goes up. It's going the wrong way because that $10,000 is no longer available. That's why it hurts your score so much to close those cards.
The credit score is so important for a lot of things, whether you're applying for credit or even your insurance rate or lots of stuff in life, even getting a job. And no credit, as I said before, is worse than bad credit. And playing the credit game, dealing with your credit report, your credit score, all that stuff, like Damon said before, it's just a freaking game. And if you want to have good credit and have good opportunities when you go to borrow money or get the lowest rates that you can, just pay attention to your credit score and do all the stuff that we have said here in this podcast, and you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Damon, is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think we covered most of it.
All right. Well, hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. If you haven't liked the podcast yet, boop that like button. And
Boop
if
it.
you need more help with any sort of credit, debt, financial issue, Damon is the guy to contact. DamonDay.com. Damon, until next time, I will see ya.
Peace.
Got a money question keeping you up at night? Well, don't just Google it. Get real answers from real people who actually know what they're talking about. Head to getoutofdebt.org/podcast to ask your question, and you might hear it on an upcoming episode. But hey, if you'd rather keep it private, Damon Day has your back. Visit DamonDay.com because getting out of debt is easier with the right help. That's getoutofdebt.org/podcast, where smart money questions lead to smarter money moves.